Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. So today we're going to be trying out a new foundation. I just picked it up. It's not a first impression. I have tried it out, but we're gonna test it out here today. I'm gonna tell you what I like about it, maybe why you might not like it. It's not really new, but it's kind of new to me. We're gonna jump into that. Grab yourself a cup of coffee and we're gonna jump into this video. I got a new coffee mug while I was on vacation. We were in the Outer Banks and I got a new Life is Good coffee mug. They're my absolute favorite. I thought this one was beautiful. We're going to be testing out the NYX Make 'em Wonder foundation. This is a soft matte foundation. It's 1.01 fluid ounces, so it's your typical size. It is a little on the pricey side. I got it at CVS because I have the coupon. It was around $16, and then I had a few dollars off. I'm going to read you a little bit about this foundation. So first off, I did pick up the shade Vanilla, and I did that. There weren't any testers, so I kind of had to guess, but I do have their concealer. I have their Bear With Me concealer serum, and that I have in the shade Vanilla, and it's a pretty good shade match for me. So I went ahead and went with it. They look absolutely nothing alike, but they both work. So it's fine. But we're going to read a little bit about this. So this is interesting. I am about 8 shades up from the lightest shade. Usually I'm not that far from the fairest shade, but it looks like they don't have, oh, they do. Okay, they do have some deeper shades. It doesn't look like this is a bad shade range. I am looking directly on NYX's website. It says it's a skincare infused weightless foundation that delivers pro level buildable coverage with a real skin finish for all day comfort. So it's supposed to have a soft matte finish, a blurred shine free complexion, skincare infused. It has hyaluronic acid, buildable coverage, 24-hour long lasting wear, inclusive shade range, available in 45 expertly crafted shades. So that's pretty good for drugstore, not bad. So again, I have the shade 08 Vanilla. So let's go ahead and I'll show you a little bit about this. I got it at CVS and these stickers drive me crazy. So I flipped the lid around. I find that a little annoying, but it's like a little dropper. So you can, and it's a pretty thin formula, and it only took a couple of drops really for me. And it might be a little on the light side. I probably could have gone up one, but just because I was guessing and I knew that the vanilla worked for me in this shade or in the concealer, that I was hoping that it would work, and it's fine. Actually, it's not all that thin, is it? It's not running on the back of my hand. Okay, so it does spread out pretty well, and I've used it enough to notice a couple things about it. So I'm going to dot just a little bit on directly on my face. Yes, and it does look like it's a little light, but I made it work. I'm using, this is the Believe Beauty. Unfortunately, they've gone out of business, but this is the Believe Beauty foundation brush, and it's a little stiff. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Do I want to use this one? I don't think this is the one that I used the other day. No, we're going to use a fluffier one. Okay, we're actually going to use the e.l.f. dual-ended brush right now because that's a little bit fluffier. Because what I did find about this, now I remember, is that kind of just brushing it out like this, nice and light, gave you that airbrushed look. This is just one layer, and you can still see my freckles. I'm breaking out right now. My skin's going a little crazy at the moment. But hopefully you can see a little bit how natural it looks. You can still see my freckles, but there is a good bit of coverage here. Just a little bit on my forehead here. I didn't get my forehead. It dries down quickly, and I would suggest not using any more of this than you need. It's one of those that I think could look heavy really quick if you aren't careful. Okay, so I did turn a light on. I was trying to use all natural light, but it's starting to, the sun is doing some funny things right now. So I really do want you to be able to see. Um, but as I was saying, this can get very heavy very quickly. So it also it's drying down the back of my hand. Now I'm not working fast enough. So that's one thing I would say that makes it maybe just a hair finicky, is that it dries down quickly. You don't want to let it sit too long before you start working with it. Go back in here, and I am going to need a little bit more because I let that dry. And again, I just sort of, I don't know, almost spread it out and then tap it in. That gives me, I think, the best look. Now, to talk about skin type for a second, I'm going to do a separate video about my skin frustrations and how the makeup that I use has had to change a little bit as my skin ages. But for purposes of this video and this foundation, if you are really dry, I don't think you're going to like this. It's not that it's heavy, but it is matte. It does remind me very much of the Urban Decay Face Bond. I really like this one. Again, dries down very quickly. It can get heavy really quick if you're not careful with how much you use. If that's just bothersome to you and you don't want to have to worry about how much product you're using and working with it quickly, all that, and if your skin is dry, I just don't think that you're going to like this. This is one layer on my skin. I did not put it up under my eyes. I'm not even going to go there because I think it will look too heavy. But it is giving me good coverage. I would call this medium coverage. You can build it up a little bit, but I wouldn't do it too much. Like I said, it's going to look heavy. If you have a lot of fine lines, deep fine lines, again, you might not like this. This is why I didn't put it around my eyes. My gripe with it, as far as fine lines, is on my forehead. I do have some deeper lines there, and yes, you can see it. However, overall, because my skin has gotten a little bit more on the oily side lately, something like this lasts very well for me. Yes, it might look heavy if I'm having a dry skin day, and I definitely have days where my skin is more dry. Sometimes it's perfectly fine and normal. It depends on the weather. I live in an area where the weather's a little wacky. You just never know. No matter what season it's in, it can be 70 degrees in December and 30 degrees in April. You just don't know. So what I do like about it is it stays where you put it. It's not building up around my nose. It's exactly where I patted it into my skin. That's where it's staying. I'm going to finish up my face here and show you kind of how it works with other products. And then I'll talk about what it looked like throughout the day as I wore it. Okay, so I'm going to use a couple of different products here. And even though it's pretty matte, I still do need to wear a powder over it to keep it from breaking up too much. So I'm going to use the Morphe Cloud Like powder. This is new to me. I think it's fairly new. This is the shade Sunrise. Okay, and we're going to go over only certain parts of my face. I'm starting to learn how to use this. I just did a video reviewing this. I like it a lot. I don't use it all over my face anymore. Now that I've kind of gotten a feel for how well it holds my makeup on, what it actually looks like, I only use it in certain areas because it starts to accentuate in here. I think if you have younger skin, you can use it anywhere you want. I don't. So I'm sticking with areas where I might highlight anyway. Actually, you know what I did not do? Completely forgot to use my bronzer. And I do want to use a cream bronzer. We're going to stop with the powder and go do that first. And I actually did pick up, and I'm not sure if I have talked about this yet. This is the e.l.f. Cream Blush and Bronzer Duo. I love this as new. I have used it a couple of times, but this is the blush side. This is the contour side. At least for me, that's what I do. The contour side is a little bit smaller. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little bit of cream product here. We're going to do some cream bronzer. And I just work it into the brush that way so that I don't overdo. Oh my gosh. I'm a mess today. Listen, I'm going to talk about how my brain is changing along with my skin in another video. So hold that thought. We do need to go get a little bit of concealer in here. Why not use the NYX? Let's just do that really quick. Honestly, we'll use the Bear With Me. This is a little bit goes a long way with this stuff. Let's just go ahead and I'm doing everything backwards today. I'm just gonna go, and this is a BK Beauty 109 brush. I usually use this for foundation, but I can't find my foundation brush, so we're gonna use this right now. Concealer, I can't find my concealer brush, so we're gonna do this right now. I don't feel like I need a ton of concealer elsewhere, so I'm just gonna do it right there. Oh, I am all over the place. This is a really pretty concealer. It's, I don't know if I'd call it serum-like, even though they call it a concealer serum. It is lightweight. And a little tiny bit goes a very long way. All right. All right, now let's go back to our bronzer. Brush. I already put powder up there, but we're gonna make it work. Eyes a little bit, because I don't think I'm gonna do a ton with my eyes today. This does really well with cream products over the top of it. Didn't have any trouble with blending it out. I don't know if I even said. This is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Bronzer Stick in the shade Fair. I probably could have gone a shade up, but I ordered it, just didn't know. So I don't think the next shade up was even available, so maybe that's why I did that. This foundation plays very nicely with cream and other powder products, but because it's so matte, I am going to use a little bit of more radiant powder products on top of it. Okay. And then I'm going to use a more matte traditional finishing powder in the center of my face because this is where it looked a little bit, the radiance of that Morphe powder was just a little bit too much. So this, unfortunately, you can't get this anymore, but I'm trying to use it. This is the Flower Light Illusion powder, but any regular finishing powder is my intent here, is just to get this to stay put. Okay, next we're going to go in with the Essence Radiant Light Face Palette. I reviewed this in my last video. I love this. We're going to use the blush. I do like the blush. It took me a minute to get used to the tone of it, but it's really pretty. This one here at the top, use. I'm going to just tap off some of the excess because this is a pigmented blush, and I don't like to overdo the blush because I just don't know. Placement is hard for me, the shape of my face. I like to try to keep the blush high and back a little bit. Sometimes I'll bring it up here like I got a little bit of sun, but generally I try to keep it back and up to lift my face up a little bit. We'll go ahead and use this beautiful highlighter that is just like the Essence Singles. Beautiful, inexpensive drugstore highlighter. One of my favorites. All right. All right, so here's the complexion. Kind of see the coverage, hopefully. Again, I used the Morphe powder, and the highlighter, or probably the luminosity you see there is not the foundation. It is solid matte. So I will say I tried this. I tried this yesterday at work. We were doing some cleaning, and so uh, I was working pretty hard and sweating. Um, I had used this powder over the top, and I think that's what made it break up in certain areas. So the areas where I used, like I said, I used a more matte powder. I used the Light Illusion powder, um, just a finishing powder in other areas, and it stayed put perfectly fine. But I put it to the test. I really did, for probably 10 straight hours, and it did not move where I powdered it. No. Just understanding that my skin has been a little bit more oily than normal. So, than it had been. This might be my new normal. Who knows? But I will say, overall, I really liked the way this laid on my skin. Again, if you are dry, I I don't know if you're going to like it. I can't say. It is, I think it's going to accentuate the dryness. Fine lines, I avoided my under eye. If you have used the Urban Decay, it's very, very similar. This is a good drugstore alternative if you don't want to buy something this expensive. I'm not even sure if this is still available. I think it is. I do like this, but the top is pretty much the same. I didn't buy it for that reason, thinking it might be a dupe. I hadn't used this in a while. I like this though. I don't know. I don't know if that was the intent or not, but it is very, very similar. You don't need a lot of it. This would last a long time. I think it's great for traveling, depending on the climate you're going to. Don't know if I'll use this in the winter time when my skin is a little bit more dry, but overall, I really do like this foundation. I mean, I plan to keep it. I'm going to put on a little bit more of my face makeup, and I'll be right back, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, I am back. I've got a little bit of eye makeup on now. I just used the Natasha Denona Luxe Glam Quad Compact, and I used the shade Nude. I love this. I use this almost every day, along with the Hyper Natural face palette, which I think is going away. I'm so upset about that. But these are really good. These are fantastic. But anyway, I did put also a little bit of setting spray on. I used the Marshmallow setting spray. I love this stuff. It smells so nice. But that aside, it doesn't make me too glowy, and it does help everything to kind of melt together. So hopefully you can kind of see how this is looking now. It's not quite as heavy as it was. I like it. I plan to keep it. I will probably travel with it in my, in my makeup bag if I feel like I want a little bit more, if I'm going to go out at night or something like that. Or if I know I'm going to have a long day, I would probably use this. It's pretty good for a drugstore foundation. Well, maybe not anymore. It's $16 on their website. Like I said, I got it at CVS, and it was about that, and then I had a few dollars off. So I felt like it was worth trying. I personally like it. Is it my favorite I've ever used? No, but I will use this in specific situations where I want my foundation to last, which is how I use the Urban Decay Face Bond if I really want it to stay put. So hopefully this is helpful if you were thinking about trying it. Again, if you're looking for a glowy skin-like foundation, this is not it. However, it is a very pretty foundation. It's a keeper for me. So hopefully this was helpful. I hope you have a great day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye.